Psychology perspective on manifesting. Manifesting is a good idea. It's when you are intentionally setting a particular goal or wanted a particular outcome and you envision it. So you are sort of attaching the cognitive part of your brain and the emotions and visualization, the deeper unconscious part of it. But what happens if it goes wrong? What happens if it doesn't work? And very often, by default, it's not going to work exactly the same way have we envisioned. Number one, it may not work when we don't do anything. Manifesting itself and waiting for the Santa Claus to bring us a present is very good, but as an adult, you probably understand that Santa Claus are for kids. And if you are in the real world, or in a real environment where you are an adult already, Santa Claus is not going to show up and bring you something. Even if your behavior will be the best, you will have to do steps in reality to get the result that you are anticipating. Number two, sometimes we are attaching a symptom to a particular bad outcome and creating a neuron connection in our brain to that wrong part. So we kind of attracting the wrong thing. Let me give you an example, because I just had a session today where it's very clear when the person experiencing some physical symptoms, and when the person asks herself what is can be, the brain, of course, the analytical part gave an array of different explanation what it could be in the search bar that show up. And by this survival mechanism, the most scary part would be picked up because we want to survive. So our brain will tell us, it can be this and this, but it's probably an scammer. It's probably that you are dying. So there are elements that's designed for us to be survived, and it's emotionally will be scared. That's why the brain will pay attention. The older part of the brain will pay attention to the most scary part of it, to the most scary part from all in a Google search from all that you know of, and picks up for you to be able to survive. Your symptom that you're experiencing may or may not at all relate to what you're scared of in life in general. There are evidence should be that like a physical checkup or something, and if everything is okay, what else? What is it the type of personality you are that you allowing information from the environment penetrate and get into you from? How often do you think you accept some billboard advertisement for a particular disease as you may have it, or a particular drug that you would need it at some point, and you pay attention and you start to making notes? So how much of that stuff, as if you don't have a boundary, as if you don't know yourself, you don't trust your body, goes from the environment toward you and becomes a part of you that each time you've experienced something, you start to scare yourself. And I think it will be true for majority of us. At some level, we are all experiencing it. But what is it should we have inside of us at some point to say, thank you so much, my dear neocortex, for giving me, but I know myself, and that's good information to know, but I rely on myself, on my own body, that it's know best, it will do the best, and I will take care of myself. So that part of having evidence and not allowing the ideas, no matter how scary they are, to be attached to a symptom, to a particular symptom, because at first it's a unpaved road. Then in your brain, if the more you think of this way, it's become paved road, and then as if highway. Neuroplasticity would allow for the symptom to be attached, and not only that, as a physical symptom that may disappear or may not even relate to it, you're creating a lot of psychosomatic pressure in your body when you start to think or experience something. And this is how a lot of long-term problems occurred inside of us by putting our pressure on ourselves, something that may not relate it in the first place. And third moment that I wanted to talk about: when we are excited, when we envision a particular goal, manifesting, wanted ourselves, and we are doing steps, sometimes we find ourselves in a situation when the outcome is not exactly how we envision, and may not be something that we even wanted, the way how people perceived us, or something happened. So at that moment, a lot of people say, oh, I manifested a wrong thing. From psychology perspective, reality is a reality. First of all, if we just starting or doing something new, we don't have very often enough knowledge, experience to anticipate what is really going to happen. So we just, in illusions, creating wanted a particular outcome. Second of all, we don't have control over reality. What we have control over is our cognitive filters and the way how we perceive the reality. And that is very different, because this is, if you find yourself in a circle of a particular behavior, as if, let me give you an example. You are trying, for example, to speak up in a meeting, to tell your ideas, as if people don't hear. You have a perception that people didn't care. And then you experience something inside, something painful, and you don't speak up next day. But you go in a circle of your friend, and suddenly you're speaking up, and once again you feel that nobody hears you, that your ideas are not accepted. So if you find yourself in a circle of the same scenario, it doesn't mean that your manifestation doesn't work, or it works in a bad way. It just means that in order for you to become a winner is never the person who starting the race. It's a person who did something, changes inside to become a winner. So he does something differently. Yes, of course, he prepares and all that, but it's totally different type of personality that goes for it. So what is it inside of you have to change, so you can, right at the moment in reality when you think that situation is repeating for a purpose. It's repeating for you to become someone else, to be able to solve. And the solution is not never to talk in front of other people. The solution is to become someone who does something differently in a situation when they are providing their ideas and perhaps summarizing for someone, or do something, or delivering speech in some way that allows them to connect to other people, to be heard. So it's a change in the way how we perceive reality, what we experience inside at that moment when we are doing it. And only then we are sort of growing inside, become more mature, wiser, and we go to the next level in our emotional development.